Welcome to this week's Crypto Markets Review with your host, FD465.tv, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are from. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are new, please consider subscribing to our channel. If you are a returning viewer, guys, thank you very much appreciated. Please, from time to time, try and interact with us in the comment section, and also bear in mind that we now have a Patreon page or channel. Currently, we are just posting text, but we will start posting some videos onto that Patreon channel. Anyway, so in this week's update, we are just going to be focusing on three parts or three things. So it's going to be brief because I know you all have important things to do with your time. So the three things we're going to be focusing on is the Jack Mallers interview or video. If you haven't seen it, I'll try and leave a link. Go watch it and then make your own mind. I'm just going to give my 2 cents on it. Bitcoin ETF holdings updates. You know, those US ETF providers in the US that were granted just over 2 weeks ago. Where are they? What are their holdings like this week? And just a small piece of my mind when it comes to crypto YouTubers that are irresponsible, because there have been things that happened this past week that I think some people are so irresponsible and they don't even own their own. It's not mistakes, but missteps. They don't own their own missteps when things go wrong. They just slide forward. They ignore it ever happened. So without wasting any of your time, guys, let's just put this one on Jack Mallers. We'll call it a rant. Let's put it to bed for once. It appears Bitcoin maxis are never going to land. My opinion, of course. Don't get me wrong, I hold some Bitcoin, and yeah, the emphasis is on some Bitcoin. And it's not even my largest bag, okay? It's no reflection on anybody. It's just my view of the markets and the investments I want to make. Now, I put what I put into Bitcoin because that's what I was comfortable investing into it. And I don't need some maxi telling me what and what I can't do with my money or investing. No matter how rich you are, I don't care. Your wealth is zero to me. What annoys me the most is that with Bitcoin maxis, there are very few of them who take the middle ground or moderate enough and understand that this is not just a Bitcoin ecosystem, but a cryptocurrency ecosystem. Whether you like it or not, altcoins are here to stay. They will change, and all 20,000 won't survive, but they will change, and the environment will keep changing, and the most resilient and stronger projects will survive. So you do you and let me be. Let me do me. There are so many crypto projects I don't even give the light of day, but I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone, for that matter, not to invest in them. If you choose to do so, you do that for you. After all, you're old enough to be making some money, so if that's the case, I'm sure you're old enough to make your own decisions when it comes to where you want to park your cash. If it's not Bitcoin, that's your choice. No one should be saying otherwise or insulting you just because they are worth billions. That's just being disrespectful. If anything, it actually puts more people to go into Bitcoin full time. The more I keep hearing these maxis go on about everything, but Bitcoin is a bad investment, the more I actually think that not investing all my wealth in Bitcoin is probably wise. So to Jack Mallers and his sort, we know you are rich, but you are starting to sound just like Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan. What are you scared of? You run like your life depends on it. So what is it that rubs you the wrong way when it comes to altcoin? I'm starting to think that you've got so much to lose if most people invest in altcoins than Bitcoin. And you know what, Jack? Let the market that may or may not have made you as rich as you are today do exactly what the market is supposed to do. As always, create winners and losers. Is that a deal? Yeah? Okay, let's move on. Spot Bitcoin ETF updates. Here, the holdings and what has been happening around them. Let's start with the news that on the 24th of January this year, which is a few days back, Bitwise, one of the ETF providers, published the Bitcoin address of their spot Bitcoin ETF holding, becoming the first Bitcoin ETF provider to do so in the US. This is undoubtedly a welcome change to the crypto space around transparency of fund reserves. But will others follow suit? We know BlackRock's wallets were exposed by third parties, and if it wasn't for them, then we'll still be speculating up to now. Or could it be that Bitwise want to see what their very own rivals are up to because they don't have any other mechanism to check, so they want people to publish so they can monitor and modify their strategies. They go, you never know with these things. All in all, this is good news for the space. Bitwise now holds 12,338.443 Bitcoin in the wallet they have now made public. It is also reported that BlackRock and Fidelity now hold more than 40,000 Bitcoin each versus less than 25,000 just a week ago. So they both added between 15 and 20k plus Bitcoin since last week. Guys, at this rate, they're buying more than the miners can produce. And obviously, we still need to absorb the selling pressure from Grayscale. So as far as some of the holdings are concerned, in terms of AUM or assets under management, Grayscale still holds a lot because theirs is still around 20.28 billion, and BlackRock, they now hold $1.83 billion worth of Bitcoin in their ETF. Fidelity now holds $1.64 billion worth of Bitcoin in their ETF. Then we have ARK Invest, just over $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Bitwise, $490.7 million worth of Bitcoin. And you've got Invesco and Galaxy, $270 million worth of Bitcoin. You've got VanEck, $114.8 million worth of Bitcoin. You've got Valkyrie, $96.6 million worth of Bitcoin. Franklin and Templeton, $53.1 million worth of Bitcoin. And finally, Wisdom Tree, they are still stuck at $8 million worth of Bitcoin. So in our last video, when we did the updates on these ETFs, we did predict that Wisdom Tree will most likely be the first one to call it quits when the time comes, because at this rate, it looks like we've got 2 race leaders and maybe 2 or 3 more that will stay within the race. Grayscale, we don't know what will happen. So if we exclude Grayscale for now, if we say BlackRock and Fidelity, one of them will become the leader. You never know which way it's going to go, but it's going to be down to how big their marketing teams and sales people are and their account managers. ARK Invest, Bitwise, and Invesco will probably be the 2 or 3 that will stay within the race, with VanEck, Valkyrie, and Franklin and Templeton. I know the appetite is there and the teams are enthusiastic and the leadership are enthusiastic and they're leading from the front, but if this battle heats up, some big names are going to fall behind here. I can see that. They may end up creating other products that will make their spot Bitcoin ETFs more appealing, but as it stands on a head-to-head, just on spot Bitcoin ETF itself, in terms of fees, it's a race to the bottom, isn't it? Because they've all been cutting their fees. So I can see a situation where VanEck, Valkyrie, and Franklin and Templeton, another one dropping off again. If Wisdom Tree goes, one of those 3 will also go. So far, I'll say BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, Bitwise, Invesco and Galaxy, VanEck, Valkyrie, they may just survive. I'm not sure about Franklin and Templeton, but I've seen their CEO on one of the YouTube videos. I think it's a lady. Very keen on Bitcoin and very enthusiastic. But anyone who wants to make money should be enthusiastic. If you're not putting your heart into it, then you shouldn't be leading. Okay, so I don't know whether they will go far with that. It was 8 million in the second week of trading. That is questionable performance from my point of view. But what do I know? That's not my area of specialty. Anyway, the other part we want to cover in this video is just things in the spotlight. So this past week, as part of my private portfolio, I took part in one of Avalaunch's IDO for Ether Games, AETHER Games. Earlier this week, through the staked Zava tokens, I also hold in my private portfolio. So got the 15k to 600k, which contains the Zava tokens, but I also hold a bag in my private portfolio. So I took part in that IDO for that project, Ether Games. That was after I completed KYC, because you need to complete KYC with these launch pads. I'm looking forward to how this one pans out. The funny thing is I also managed to sweep the floor, something I've never done before, where you'll be purchasing leftover tokens, and I think there was like 8 or 9% left. So I managed to get as much as I got in my actual purchase, original purchase, because I went with the staking element of the IDO. So it was quite good. It was fulfilling. So I want to see where this one goes, and I understand the token launch is around the 28th of February. So I want to see how this one will perform, because their IDO, they went for a small amount, but just on Avalaunch, they wanted to raise $300,000 and they end up raising just under that, slightly under that. Maybe they missed by maybe 5,000 or something thereabouts. If you're not in the know, by the way, Ether Games is a transmedia development studio partnered with various franchises to create immersive experiences through games, series, and interactive AI technologies. It doesn't say much. I haven't actually done a proper deep dive, but I'm sure it is a half-decent project to start with. However, what annoyed me during the week in terms of launchpads is I missed out on the most recent CDFI IDO due to some issue with my funding and connected wallet. I'm looking forward to getting this one resolved in time for the next upcoming rounds. To close this week's updates, let's turn our attention to irresponsible crypto YouTubers who are, surprise, not held accountable by anybody, having promoted some scams. There was much said about a certain launchpad that ragged some investors, and that launchpad was heavily promoted by certain YouTubers. However, I haven't heard any single word about how sorry some of these YouTubers are for promoting such a scam. Why? Because they probably benefited. My understanding is that the launchpad team were actually not allocating an ideal sports to the public, but to themselves, maybe including some of these YouTubers that were promoting that launchpad, which means that their own platform was designed to benefit the project team and project insiders. Again, crypto YouTubers will be part of the insider group. Man, some people just suck on it. They're just sick. You know, doing that to someone is not good, is it? Anyway, guys, that's your lot for the week. Any comments, let us know through the comment section. Until the next video, I'm your host, FD for 65.tv, with this week's crypto market review. Until the next video, guys, bye for now.